In this video, I'm going to share with you how and why one high ticket offer can completely change your life. And in case you're wondering who I am, or we haven't met, or why you should listen to me, my name's Kay Somji, and I've been in this online game for, wow, going on over 10 years now. And I've pretty much done it all from selling, like I'm going to explain here, high ticket coaching offers to mid ticket courses that I've created to affiliate products of other people's programs where I've taken a small commission. I've done low ticket dinky courses, $7, $17, $47. What else have I done? I've done monthly recurring membership groups where I've had a few hundred people pay me $37 a month. So in the info slash coaching game, I've pretty much done all these models. So I'm speaking from experience. And I want to explain why high ticket will absolutely change your life and it can completely change your financial situation as well. So when we look at the low ticket models I did, the first way that I got to my first $10,000 a month was selling affiliate products. I was selling affiliate products. Typically, they ranged between, I think it was $150 and $297 monthly, and I would get between a 30 and 50% commission. So I was getting maybe a couple of $100, 100, 150 for each person who was using those services. And those were like landing pages, email autoresponders, and those kind of things. And it took me 6 years to get to my first $10,000 a month. Granted, I probably wasn't doing exactly what I should have in exactly the right order. I was still learning. But it took me that long to get there, which to some people may not sound so bad. You're making a six-figure income. It took me longer than I'd like to get there. But when I contrast that with high ticket, when I launched my high ticket offer in January of 2021, and I'll kind of explain the journey of that, I launched my own high ticket coaching program. And it only took me 8 months to get from zero to $100,000 a month. And I know that sounds absolutely ludicrous. So I will break down as well the trajectory of how we got there, how I got there in the first 3 months. It took me to get to 10K a month. By month 4, I was doing 31K a month, and we progressed from there. But really the mechanics of high ticket makes this possible. So what is high ticket exactly? I mean, the numbers will range. High ticket, low ticket, mid ticket. My hands are all over the place. I'm doing the wrong motions for them. But you get the point. Low ticket is typically like the cheap stuff. Maybe it could be $27, like a $27 course, 47, 147. Typically it's like a cheap intro level product. Mid ticket could be considered anything from, I don't know, 500, 1,000, maybe even over 1,000. And then high ticket, again, everyone has different definitions on the price and the level, but let's call it anywhere between $2,000 and $10,000. So essentially, people are investing a higher ticket amount in themselves. So you can see if you have a $5,000 offer, it's much easier to get to, that $10,000, that $50,000, that $100,000 a month, needing 2 clients, 10 clients and 20 clients a month respectively to get there. Versus if you're earning $100, $200, $300 per person, sure, it's easier for people to buy, but you really need to rely on volume, a lot more throughput, a lot more leads, a lot more eyeballs, a lot more impressions, a lot more traffic seeing that offer to convert that. In the short of it, you have to be a much better marketer and have much more virality and impressions to be able to do that. So with the high ticket model, not only can you monetize faster, but you may have heard a quote. Now, I can't remember if it's Russell Brunson who came up with it or if it was somebody else, but I think he said, when people pay, they pay attention, or people who pay more attention. And let's step out of the coaching info space for a minute. That's pretty much true with anything. Wish I had a pen in my hand right now for the analogy I'm about to give. But if you buy a Montblanc pen, and let's say that costs you $1,000, you're going to treat that pen with a lot more care than one that you just nicked from an office where you're filling out a form, because you've put a lot more investment into that. You're probably not going to lose it. Same with when you spend more on an item of clothing, you spend more on a watch. I know that's true for me. If I spend several thousand on a watch, I'm taking more care of that than, my G-Shock, which I might just toss about because I've invested a lot more into that. And the same thing goes with your offers, your programs, your digital products, or whatever it is that you're selling. When people pay more, they pay attention. So I do it, you do it, and your clients will do it as well. When somebody's committed to giving you $5,000, let's use that same example, they're going to show up. They're actually going to put the work in to get the results. Because if they just put a small amount in, there's no real pain if they don't do anything. So that's the first thing I like, is when people pay, they pay attention. The second thing I love about high ticket is you need less clients to get the same result. So if you're selling at $5,000 and you get 10 clients, you've just made 50 grand. If you're selling at $500, you would need 10 times that amount of clients to be able to get that same 50 grand. So you'd need 100 clients. And all things considered equal, it's easier to get results for 10 clients than it is for 100. Because now you have to work with 100 people. You have 100 sets of problems, 100 nuances, versus if you're working with a small group of people, it's easier to get results for them. I'm sure you'd agree. And obviously with clients, you're going to get a percentage of problem clients, a percentage of bad clients, or not even bad or problem, but a percentage of clients who have different expectations or different situations. And so the more clients you have, that percentage is going to manifest itself in more people having those problems. So the less people you have, the less headaches you have to deal with, the less problems you have to deal with, and the more consistent results you can get. And so when you pour all your effort and energy into that handful of people, especially when you're being bloody compensated $5,000 to do it, you might be able to get on Zoom calls with them, get on phone calls, which you wouldn't be able to do if someone's only paying you 500, or even if they're paying lower in another lower ticket example. And so when you're doing that, you can get better results, which in turn will bring you more clients in. But also it's easier for you to create a full-time income. 5 grand a pop, 1 client a month. Forget these big numbers for a minute. Let's forget 50,000 a month and crazy numbers. 1 client a month earns you $60,000 a year. That's pretty much, or that is a full-time income. 2 clients a month, you're netting 120K a year. 4 clients a month, $240,000 a year. That's $250,000 a year to not even work with that many people. And you can actually more so guarantee their results because you're working with them in a more intimate fashion. And I'll give you an example of that. Because like I said, I've sold a whole plethora of things. I started with the affiliate products where I was making those commissions. I then sold my own course, making sure I get this in the right order. I sold my own course for $47. I sold another for $67. I did hourly consulting starting at $47, moving up to $97 and $147. And people got some great results. I have testimonials for days of people hitting their first few $100s in commissions, making their first $1,000, some people making $2,000 or $3,000. And I was really happy at the time getting those people's results. It feels good, right? It feels bloody good. The money's good, but getting the results is even better. But I noticed they were few and far between. So even though I did get a lot of results for people, that was nothing compared to the full amount of people who had joined. The reality of the situation, which most people will not share, is that the majority of people who invested in my course didn't actually complete it. In fact, I think there was around 11 to 15% who didn't even open the bloody thing. So sure, you could say, well, that's their problem, money in my pocket. And I guess you'd be right, but you're not getting them results. You're not getting case studies out of them. And if they don't go through it, they don't go and open it, or they don't finish it and they don't get the result, you may have made 47 in my case, or 97, or whatever you're charging, but that's the last time they're going to do business with you, because they're going to think they didn't get the result. Why would they pay you any more? Or they will think, well, I've already invested this $47. I'm going to go through and I'm going to make sure I get my money's worth, even if it takes me 2 years to get through it. And that doesn't work as well. So I did that with the low ticket course. I did that with a monthly recurring membership. People paying me $37 a month. I distinctly remember, because I thought at this time I'd made it. I was in Thailand and I had $37 a month I was charging people, and I had just over 200 people. And this was going back a long time, mind you. It's going back about 7 years. And I thought to myself, I'd really made it, until the auto charges come in and people's credit cards declined for $37. Or I didn't realize, I thought this is recurring income. Yeah, but you're not Netflix. So it does have a lifetime value. People usually cancel after about 3 months. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but the point is, some people got some results, other people didn't, and it was continually filling a leaky bucket. So I was making close to 10 grand a month then off that. Same with the affiliate, and with the courses, I was doing a little bit more. But as soon as I switched to high ticket, not only did the money come in faster, as I alluded to, but the results did as well. So I'll share with you 3 results just to illustrate here. As soon as I launched my high ticket coaching program, one of my clients, Max, he was before selling healing and self-mastery sessions where he was coaching people, really doing amazing work, charging them $100 an hour. And he was getting them good results some of the time. And other times what would happen is one hour session is not really enough to solve people's whole ailments and issues. But what would happen is somebody had paid him 100 and they thought, well, I'm just going to go capitalize on this. Again, I'm going to get my money's worth and I'm just going to rinse and repeat it. And that's not enough to make lasting transformations. And sometimes people would get the transformation and think they're good, and then they go away. And it's like, you know, when people lose weight and then they think, oh, I'm good, and then they don't carry on with it, and then they put it all back on. It's a repeat cycle. Anyway, long story short, we helped Max go from making $100 an hour, and he was making around $3,000 a month, to not only was he able to increase his results because he'd invested high ticket, but we helped him launch his own high ticket coaching offer, and he scaled that to over $40,000 a month within the first, I think it was 4 or 6 months. And in the first month, actually, he went from 3,000 to 13,000 in the very first month. So that's the power of having a high ticket offer. And as a result, his clients got even more shifts and his clients got even better results. And there's another client, Sarah. Sarah was doing one-on-one in-person business coaching, very, very good at what she does, but she wanted to be able to leverage and take it online now. So she launched, just like you see everybody online, she launched a lower priced product at $97 a month, coincidentally. And she wasn't really able to get signups for that. She got some people. Again, we helped her pivot to a high ticket offer, high ticket coaching program, which is more in line with what she was charging in person. And she made $50,000. She's in the UK, £40,000 in her first 6 weeks. So again, proof is in the pudding, not just from my income, but from my client's income and also from their clients' results. So it trickles down. Charging high ticket is really a beautiful thing when it comes to getting people to pay attention and really make the most of their investment and get the results. And I've got these kind of case studies for days, but the third one that comes to mind, just to give a bit of a different shift, is Stephanie. So Steph was charging, I believe it was $147 a month, don't quote me on that, for a membership group where she was helping people improve their social media marketing to sell their products, sell their services and different offers. And she was getting people in. But obviously with monthly recurring, like I mentioned, there is churn. People do cancel, some people stay on, some people's cards decline, all those different things, and you're filling the leaky bucket. So she didn't want to drop that model entirely. I kind of told her to include the high ticket, but she didn't want to leave that. So what we did was just added a high ticket component. So she's charged, I think that was $2,000 or $2,500. And where she was making a few thousand a month with the $147 a month membership, she quickly scaled to doing over $20,000 a month. And this is one of the most beautiful stories because she was able to use that money to invest in buying a property from what she had made in the first several months. And so that's what I mean. Obviously, the impact in my bank account was magnificent, but those stories were great. Made me feel good, you know, but also what it did for my business, having 3 case studies like that, and I've got plenty more, and I'll link them somewhere around the video as well, just so you can see we've actually helped people do that. This is now marketing for my business, and it all happened because I charged more and people invested more, they took it more seriously, and they got more results. Now you might think it's just as simple as, hey, I'm just going to increase my prices. I'll get onto that in a sec. Because it's not that simple. A lot of coaches will say, hey, just increase your prices, just charge what you're worth. And that's complete bollocks advice because yes, people will pay attention when they pay more, but if you are charging more for something that isn't worth it, you're going to piss people off and they're going to hate you. Imagine you went to McDonald's and you paid $1,000 for a Happy Meal. Like, you're going to pay more attention to it, I guess. Maybe eat it slower, maybe play with the toy more, but you're not going to appreciate that. You'll probably never go back to McDonald's again. So charge high ticket, but you need to know the way in which you're going to do it and how it's actually going to be worth it for them. Nobody complained about paying my high ticket price because it got them so much more results than they would have got on their own and before. So how to price your high ticket offer? That's probably the next thing we go into, because it needs to be priced correctly to get people in and for velocity, but also so you can make that full-time life-changing income. The price of your offer is directly correlated to the speed at which you get results. So if you think about, let's take weight loss again. Okay, I help you lose 30 pounds in a year. I might charge, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 for that with some components in there. But if I could help you lose 50 pounds in 24 hours, how much would that be worth? That would be worth a lot more, right? Maybe 5, 10, 15, $20,000 to the right person. And that is exactly why liposuction costs more than personal training. And you can take this for any example. If somebody comes and works on your house to do a renovation and they might take 3 months to do that, what if they could get it done in a week? You know, time is money. So the more you can compress the time for people and also increase the perceived likelihood of achievement, I'm stealing something out of Alex Hormozi's playbook here, the more they will pay you. Let's create the structure here. So think about the structure of your high ticket offer. Let's jump back into weight loss. Personal trainers, right? You can just look at videos online or buy a workout book for $25, $30, and you still got to do everything. But if the personal trainer can compress the time and increase the likelihood of you getting that, what could that person do? Think about every step that people struggle with. Whether it's showing up to the gym, they could provide accountability. Doing the workouts at the gym, they can correct your form. If they're not in person, you can send them videos and they can critique your form. You might not know how to eat, they can create the meal plans for you. You might not know what things to get, they can give you the recipe list. They can go one step further and actually order the groceries to your house. They can send you for blood work. Everything that would make it unrealistic that you wouldn't achieve the outcome, that's what you can do for your client, whether it's in weight loss or any other niche. And substantially, you can charge more for that. Would you not pay more for that kind of service for 16 weeks where you pretty much guarantee that somebody's going to lose, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20 pounds versus somebody buying a book and trying to do it on their own, which we know most people fail because, let's face it, if information alone was enough, we'd all be millionaires with six packs. But that's what you can do with the high ticket offer. So you're charging more for the accountability, for the implementation, for doing it with people, for cutting down the time, and for actually increasing the likelihood of getting the result. That's what you're doing. That's why you can charge high ticket. And that is why people get more results. So it's not as simple as just charge what you're worth, mate. Just, whack up the price, because you're just going to piss off a lot of people and you'll be out of business. Increase your prices. I'm a very big fan of that. But make sure you're delivering what is worth that price in the terms of the outcome or the result that people want, and make sure it fits within what would be worth it for that person. So you want to do that step by step. And I'll have another video here at some point on exactly how to structure your high ticket offer and break it down and all the things you want to include. But for now, just think about every step that somebody would need to take and then solve that. And then you can deliver that through a few different components. That could have a course component. You could have check-in. You could have video calls. You could have phone calls. Hell, if you're near the person, you could meet up with them for a coffee. Whatever it is, you're just doing that. And that is what you're getting compensated on the high ticket for. And I'll take this one step further, because I know there's going to be some arguments. There already are online. Maybe there might be in the comment section. Feel free. But some people will say low ticket is the best. Mid ticket is the best. High ticket is the best. I'm here to say there is no best. But I'm just going to give you the facts. The facts are the high ticket is where the money is made. I can not only say that for myself, having done all these models, but if you look at every other creator online, they might have, let's say, a low ticket community, maybe a school community, maybe some kind of group community like that. They have a high ticket on the back end because they know churn exists. They know lifetime value is about 3 months. If they're running ads, usually that front end offer is just offsetting the cost of the ads. And in the online marketing world, we call that a self-liquidating offer. You're not trying to make money from that. Because if you wanted to make, let's say you sell 1,000 of a $37 product, sure, you've made 37K. You got to go and do that the next month. Whereas you could do that with just a handful of high ticket clients, essentially with the front end offer offsetting the ad cost. And so that's how they can afford to run ads. So when you see people saying, low ticket's better or mid ticket is better, have a look in all these people's funnels. they will have some way for people to take the next step and invest at high ticket. That is where the money is made because the profit margins are so much higher. And yes, I'm not here to argue low ticket or mid ticket. You can make incredible money on those as well. But in terms of changing your life and getting there fast, I think high ticket is the fastest way to do it. Like I showed you, a handful of clients can get you a full-time income. Whereas I've done the low ticket and I sell some other offers as well. It's harder to get that many impressions and that many people to pull out their card and buy. And so you'll see they have those high ticket upsells in there as well. Now the low ticket can be great if you have a massive audience, but you still want the high ticket offer in the ecosystem. This is the thing. It's always there for the people who want to take it. And now with a lot of people doing these low ticket things, they know they're not going to get that transformation there. People come in and they might get some information, but really the money nowadays is made in the transformation, getting the client results, and working with a handful of people that you can really care for and just, do everything you can to ensure they get the results. So I hope I've convinced you somewhat to either pivot to a high ticket offer or add a high ticket offer to your ecosystem, or if you have a high ticket offer, to scale it even more and just get some incredible results. And if you want any help doing that, I've left some info in the description where we can help you put that high ticket offer together as well. Take care. See you in the next video, guys. Cheers.